So today we are going to be talking about facials and whether or not they are beneficial to your skin, and primarily talking about like acne and facials. And I get a lot of questions about facials. Some people say, you know, are facials good for rosacea, for eczema, for other skin problems? You know, do facials help or do they hurt? Because there's a lot of misconception about if you go get a facial, yes, it's relaxing, yes, it's fun. If he knocks that over, this entire setup is coming down. Mr. Kitty. So he's just going to play in that box and make us all shaky. But we're going to talk about whether or not facials are really helpful for the skin. Because some can do more harm than help. And I am going to say, whoopsies, come here. And I am kind of happy to say it's an itch, not a pick, which happens all the time. I don't understand it. I am kind of blessed to be able to have worked in a setting. I was kind of blessed to work in a setting where I did kind of have like an on-hand aesthetic education of skin and how it works. So I do know a bit about facials. So like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, how well a facial, like if it benefits you or not, completely depends on what kind of facial it is and who it is that's doing it. Now, you don't have to have years and years of experience in order to be able to give a good facial, but you know, you should be getting a facialist or an esthetician who really knows what she's doing, who knows your skin and doesn't just say, okay, you're here, time for your facial, but who actually says, okay, let's sit down, talk about your skin, like if you're a new client, what do you need, you know, what are your major skincare concerns and how can we fix them? You know, not just somebody who just comes in and just, you know, does 100 facials a day and doesn't know what your skincare type is and just uses something, you know, some other medicine. Also, where I went, we used some really high-end lines such as Dermalogica and Murad and Revite. Let me tell you, if you actually read some of these ingredients, even the high-end things are not good. Like, there are ingredients in there that will be so bad for certain skin types. So you really have to make sure that whoever you're talking to knows their products. And if you can, just say, hey, let me look at the ingredients of the products you're using. And if they're not gonna let you do that, just be like, you're not touching my face. There's also many different kinds of facials. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about those and then how they'll either help your skin or hurt your skin. But bottom line, are facials helpful or not? It completely depends on the person who's doing it, the person you are, your skin, and the ingredients used. So make sure that you talk with your esthetician about that before you get a facial. And facials are great for men too. And I'll go into a couple of types of facials now to kind of tell you. Just make sure that everyone who's working on you kind of knows your skincare needs. When done by the right person with the right ingredients, who really knows your skin, facials are amazing and beneficial. So you do just have to kind of be careful to make sure that you're getting the most out of what you could. The reason that I can't really say yes, facials are good or no, facials are not good or they work for this, they work for that is because yes, everyone's different, but there's also many different kinds of facials. There's facials that involve steam, some that are masks, you know, like they put a mask on your face. Some deal with exfoliation, whether it's like a manual exfoliation or whether it's a chemical exfoliation. Some actually go straight for acne and, you know, target, you know, people with pimples and go for even acne extraction where they extract the pimples or they extract blackheads. Some go for wrinkles, some go for vitamin C to boost collagen. There's a lot that has to do with massages. Some are to drain the ducts, some are just to calm skin, some are even more mental of just having that, you know, kind of touch therapy to kind of work on your nerves and your bones and things like that and kind of create a holistic nurturing as opposed to anything skin related, more of a body nurturing sensation. There's even things like LED light therapies. There's chemicals such as glycolics or salicylics or even a gessner, which your whole face will peel off. Some of these go all the way down and hit the dermis like a glycolic where it's actually changing your body's kind of cell composition, and some are just going to touch the very surface and kind of help you up there surfacely on the top, on those very top of, you know, we have different layers of the skin, just those kind of basal top layers. So it really depends. Now, when done right, these things are usually beneficial. Then again, you know, it depends on the esthetician, it depends on the ingredients actually used, so you should kind of look for that. But when done right by someone who knows your skin, by someone who knows you, usually they can kind of help you out and really, you know, benefit your skin and kind of target your problem areas and at the same time create kind of a relaxing, comforting, really just kind of luxurious experience. Now, there are two kind of spa facial services that usually if this gets messed up, it's usually what does get messed up, and it's because they are kind of tricky to use, and if you're getting either of these two, you want to go for someone who's done it before, who is more experienced. But where most mistakes occur is through chemicals, kind of like a chemical exfoliation or extraction. And the reason why is because both of those can be a little bit more discomforting or painful. They could burn, they could sting. They could potentially burn or sting. They could potentially scar your face, and they could cause, discomfort and kind of lasting stuff. Now, when done right, these are amazing. They are super beneficial. However, if the skincare person doesn't know what they're doing, or if they don't assess your specific needs, this is where most problems occur because there is so much room for error. Now, you guys know that I am way against over-exfoliations. I feel like doctors and dermatologists are like, oh my gosh, you know what? She has an acne problem, we're gonna exfoliate. And they give you medicines that thin your skin, and then they give you facials and creams that thin your skin, and then they give you treatments that thin your skin, and all of a sudden you have no skin left, and you're burning, and you're scarring, and you're causing pigmentation. So over-exfoliation is definitely a no-no, but in moderation, it's great for sloughing off just those dead skin cells if you use a sunscreen afterwards, and kind of getting rid of that clogged up cakey stuff that kind of sits on the side of the pores and those glands. If you guys, and your esthetician should ask you this before performing one of these facials, if they don't, you say no right away. You should not have waxed within almost 3 or 4 days. Like if you do lip waxing or something like that, you should not do it. If you have had a chemical thing or another exfoliating treatment, you should not be re-exfoliating. Hi, baby. If you've had a sunburn, if you've been in extremely hot sun, you should not be getting these treatments. And you shouldn't even let them talk you into it or tell you about it. If they try, then you need to find a new skincare professional. Oh, are we gonna attack my earring? Even if you have cold sores or if your cat scratched your face, if you guys have any open lesions or anything like that, you should not do glycolics, you should not do chemical peels in general, you should not do exfoliating treatments or anything like that, just because of you're already exfoliated, the skin is already thin in that area. It could just burn you all the way down to the dermis, cause scarring, cause pigmentation, and just a lot of discomfort in general. Should I name him Parrot? How? So there's microdermabrasion, which is kind of like an exfoliating treatment as well. And let me just say, and same with glycolics, chemical peels, exfoliating treatments, if you guys have darker skin, for instance, there's a scale where people's skin is actually classified. And if you guys are from either Asian descent or Oriental descent, or if your skin has a lot of ebony in it, or from Spanish descent, basically if you do anything other than burn in the sun, you should be very, 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 very careful when getting these. Reason why is because darker skin is more susceptible to getting pigmentation when there's a problem. We know from the scarring video that if we attack our dermis, then there's going to be problems, right? If we attack our dermis here, there's going to be problems as well. What's going to happen is that if we irritate that, because that skin already has more color to it, it's going to be easier for it to produce more color. So you might get scarring, pigmentation, definitely pigmentation in those areas, which is very hard to reduce. That being said, it's still totally safe if you guys do it right. Make sure that they are using high quality products, that they know what they're doing, that it's not it might be okay if it tingles or kind of tickles, but if it starts burning, do not continue with it. They should know how to neutralize it in case something does happen or if you have a reaction to it. This is possible for light skinned people too. I'm just saying, generally people with darker skin or tan skin or people who have skin that tans, this will happen to them more often because they have more pigment in their skin to begin with. But if anything like that happens, make sure that your esthetician knows, but even before you start, what your skin's needs are. And make sure that she has a product called hydroquinone. And after any chemical exfoliation, after any microdermabrasion, after any manual exfoliation, she can use this hydroquinone to kind of neutralize the skin, to prevent any pigmentation from happening at all. So make sure that she has that on hand, and make sure that, or just make sure that, whoever's doing your skin knows exactly what your type is and what they're doing. That's the other thing, is that it should not hurt. If someone's exfoliating you manually, like with one of the crystal heads of a microdermabrasion, if they're giving you a glycolic peel, glycolics tend to burn and tingle a little bit, but if it's burning, if it's stinging, if it's peeling, you need to get it off right away. The esthetician, again, should have something to neutralize that, but worst comes to worst, you need to get it off with cold water. And be careful of allergies too. Now, this is something that has never been scientifically proven, but I solely believe in. We even did little tests on this, but glycolic acid is an acid derived from sugarcane. We're going to talk about this more in another video later. But we tested on people with and without diabetes who monitor their blood sugar. People are saying it doesn't touch the dermis. It touches the dermis. The reason why is because we found a spike in blood sugars after using it, which was shocking, which means that it did go into the bloodstream and all this other stuff. So make sure that your esthetician is not completely closed off and just by the book. Make sure that she or he understands your personal needs, and especially if you are getting one of these treatments that goes all the way into the bloodstream, make sure that you're not allergic to it. Make sure they do a PD test. They should be testing a patch. They should take a patch of your skin and put the chemicals on there a couple days before you start any treatment, just to make sure you don't have like really adverse reactions. If they don't do that, don't go to them. Also, if you guys are getting pimple extractions, make sure that they're doing it correctly. We know that if it bleeds or if we pick, why shouldn't we pick our pimples? I have a Talkin' Tuesday about that. We will get scarring. Make sure that when they're extracting, they're doing it correctly. Now, estheticians are not allowed to use lancets in California, maybe elsewhere they are, but if you have a dermatologist that uses a lancet, make sure that they first lancet so that you have an area to work with, and that they go from underneath the pimple so that they do not draw blood, and so that they can effectively kind of get it out without causing rupture to the skin, or pushing it in deeper, or making it, swim around into the bloodstream and infect other areas of the face. Also, if they're trying to remove blackheads, make sure that they exfoliate the area first and also put stuff afterwards, because the main reason that blackheads are clogged is because of usually excess oil production, and then the skin isn't sloughing off properly. And also, don't apply cosmetics or things after a facial. You should give your face at least an evening, hopefully an entire day, to kind of repair after some of these more extreme treatments. Do facials help or not? Generally, yes. If the person knows what they're doing, if you know what the ingredients are, if they know your skin, it's usually beneficial, and you guys can really work out a lot of even wrinkles, not just acne, but so many different problems. If the person knows what they're doing, they're almost like mini doctors most of the time, and they can usually really help you. Now, of course, there's room for error. Of course, these are really, really dangerous chemicals if used the wrong way. You need to make sure that either you know what's going on in your face, you need to know what's going on in your face at all times, and they need to know how to use them. If you have wrinkles, you shouldn't be getting an acne facial unless you have acne. If you have acne facials, you shouldn't be, the people that just do the same facial every time, no, it's crud. Do not use it because it will clog your pores. They have acne facials with salicylic, they have, C facials for wrinkles, they have eczema stuff, they have all sorts of stuff. So make sure that your kind of skincare person is really customizing to your skin. Can it cause scarring? Yes, it can, but that's in extreme situations of chemical peels and, exfoliating or extracting where we're not doing it properly. So again, usually facials are safe and effective, and they're usually really, really good for your skin. Even things such as LED light therapy, or the little ones that zap your pimples on there that the esthetician will hold up there. And if they have a mag light where you guys can see your skin up close, I really recommend you ask them if you could kind of see, and just take a really close look at your skin before and after if they have a way to photograph it and stuff. Or if they have like a woodland lamp so you guys can see your face, see where your problem areas are. But that's my bottom line. That's what I think. I do try to get facials when I feel I need them. The good thing is that I can do a couple here on my own at home because I have some of the ingredients and stuff, which I'll probably be taking you through in another video. But I hope you found this informative. I hope you found this helpful. And Kitty and I will talk to y'all in another video. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.